this meeting, unless a written appeal of the Planning Commission's decision is filed in the Planning Office by Tuesday, September 2nd at 5 p.m. In the event of an appeal, the decision will be referred to the County Commission for a hearing on Tuesday, September 16th at 9:15. Meetings of the County Commission are held in the same room. At this time, the Planning Commission will consider the consent agenda. The minutes from the July 28th meeting are included in the consent agenda. Are there any objections from the Planning Commission's members to any items on the consent agenda? Next, I'll read each item on the consent agenda. If any member in the audience objects to the item, please raise your hand. It will be moved to the regular agenda to allow you to address the Planning Commission. The first one, and the only one, other than the minutes, is the conditional use permit 14-41 to exceed 1,200 square feet of total accessory building. And they're requesting 5,200 square feet on the property located approximately 2 miles west of Hartford. Are there any objections to that being on the consent agenda?
You're not going to get me to say nothing. All
right.
Since I'm the one who wanted, I guess I'm not objecting. Right?
All right, so then the only item that we have tonight are items 1, which is the minutes, and item 2, which is the conditional use permit. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. There are no regular agenda items. Is there any new business?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Question. Scott, 2 months ago we approved the housing eligibility there out east. Well, it's exactly a half mile west of Highway 17. It's right on Highway 42 and
Okay.
Highway 17, a half mile west. Now, I was always under the impression that with our county planning and zoning, that, storage buildings are secondary to the primary residence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these people are building this huge shed out there, and I haven't seen evidence of a shovel of dirt being turned for a residence.
Well, I can look into that.
Building permit?
Well, I'd have to look at the property. I mean, I don't know without looking at that. But we do, what we often allow as a policy is you can obtain both permits at the same time. So you are paying, let's say, $1,200 for a house permit, and you're paying $250 for the accessory building. And we do allow people to build those accessory buildings first, so they can put their tools and stuff in there and materials. Then that allows them. Then the next step is they start building the house.
How long do they have to start building that house?
Well, both permits are good. They have to start. You have to basically begin work within, I think it's 60 days, and they're good for a year. They leveled the site. They've started doing work.
I know. I see the building's going up right now.
Yeah.
And I look at the size of that building, and I'm thinking, okay, so where's the house going to go on this 1 acre?
Yeah, I would have to go up and look at it.
It's huge. I mean, it's like a 54 by 70 something
Is it
shed.
on
The one on the south
42?
side. Yeah, the south side.
South side of the
Yeah.
road, okay.
Old, what's his name? Howard Steele's building. It's a Lester building.
We can look at it.
And that's what I was wondering, because I thought, man, that just doesn't look right. It just looks like this big old shed in the middle of nowhere. Like somebody's putting a storage building up on 1 acre.
Yeah, we definitely monitor that and don't allow it. More than likely, they have obtained 2 permits at once. They're building the accessory building first, so they can store equipment, materials, tools, whatever in there, and then they're going to build their house. And I counsel people to be very careful, because if you don't do something, that permit will expire, and you'll be paying another $1,200 for another building permit for a single-family residence. So they are invested in that. Most people won't let that $1,200 just slide. So hopefully there'll be a house going up, but we'll monitor it.
And also, I'd let you know that the storage building at the Wall Lake Corner is being shingled right now.
Well, we have a conditional use permit that came in, and they're
For what?
a winery. That's at next month's meeting.
Really, at that place?
Yeah, Kevin's been working on it. That's going to be their wine tasting rooms or something.
Yeah, they're going to convert it to a wine tasting room.
But we're not going to be living in it.
They better not be, because otherwise everybody in the county should get an eligibility.
No, I went out there when we
Did they
talked
take
about
that kitchen out like they're supposed to?
they're
That's
not
part of the
living in.
original agreement.
That's not part of the requirements.
You had that right in the requirement, Scott, that the kitchen shall be removed from this place. This is the storage building. And
I can go look. I mean, I
don't.
don't know if the kitchen's in or out of it, but I did look in it when we talked about this last time, and it was empty. I mean, there may have been light on there. I know you said you'd seen light in there. I went on the property, actually
I haven't
stuck
seen any
my.
cars there.
They're not living in. No one's living in it, and they're actually going to be reusing that building as part of their conditional use permit for a winery. So you're going to be talking about that next month.
That'll be fine. Well, are they planting grapes?
So that's the location of that?
It's the people built a big log house there in the corner of Wall Lake. It's the old house in front.
Got it, okay.
Instead of tearing it down as they originally agreed to, Scott allowed them to use it as a storage building. So I've made sure that it is a storage building and not a house or a residence.
How many acres do they have? Do you remember? I mean, they're planting. I think they.
It's more than 10.
I mean, they're
and
planting
I don't know
grapes.
how
I
many
think
grapes
there's
there.
almost 20 acres there.
Yeah.
Because, when they originally sold that, it was at least 20 acres.
So it's going to be a new business.
It goes back to the quarter-mile line to the north.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just along those lines, as a telephone guy, I can remember hooking up garages with telephone lines and with power, and then the house was built at a later time. They just basically brought their materials out and their machinery out and set up shop, and so it was, a year or more before the house was really built. That said, also, maybe you guys never were out there, but remember a few years back when we had a daycare and a pit bull
Yes.
breeding place at the same location? Well, up there's a giant garage with a little
That's a
teeny,
house.
teeny shack on the side of it. It looks a lot like an office, but it's their attached garage. And,
That's on a separate lot, so they had it was a lot of record.
Anyway, so
It was
stuff
kind of a
happens.
farce, but it was nothing you could do about it.
Under old business, to Mr. Chairman, or new business.
Well, I'd like to
Kevin?
make a little update on the Envision 2035 process. We're going to start, as Bonnie and Jeff already know, we're going to start that back up again and work towards finishing it, hopefully by sometime next year. Would be reasonable. The first task force meeting that we're going to start up again is on Tuesday, October 14th. And then on October 16th, originally I had it a week before. We were going to be having an open house to kind of celebrate, because October is National Community Planning Month, and it'd be a good time to do that as well in conjunction with Envision 2035 and try to get some more input on that. That one's on October 16th at 6:30 to 7:30 over in Humboldt, their community center. Still working out the details on the reservation, but
So we anticipate having something to present in Humboldt, sort of a community envisioning session. We didn't have a meeting in Humboldt. We did have one in Hartford at Tri-Valley, the Tri-Valley School District. We had one in Del Rapids. We had one in Brandon. So we are going to have a little meeting in Humboldt, and we're moving. Kevin and David have been working reviewing what had already been done and making some suggestions, it's not corrections, just modifications to what had already been worked on. So we hope to have that up and running and going. So I'm glad that these two young guys are helping me and really taking the lead on getting that moving ahead. So
That was the
Scott, you have
16th.
another feeling why things are so slow in the county? It
You
just
know-
seems like, although are you issuing enough building permits?
Well, we're issuing building permits, but I think we're down about year to date about 10 single-family residences from where we were last year. The valuation is about the same because we've had some big commercial permits that have come in. That Carl Carlson thing out at Hartford. I mean, we've had several commercial building permits that have come in that have boosted up those numbers.
I see they got one building out there so far. That's
So.
that place.
But it's just a little bit slow. I
Yeah,
don't know
for
why.
as crazy as Sioux Falls is, it's surprising.
I don't know why.
Bill, did you have something?
Yeah, the date in Humboldt, October.
October 16th, 6:30 to 7:30,
It's a Thursday night.
Thursday night.
And we'll be sending you out a reminder, but I just wanted David to let you know today, so if you started, and that's our intention, we're going to put up some flyers at like the trophy room, some different places in Humboldt and Hartford in that area, City Hall, just to see if we can get the word out. So if you pass the word around, Bill,
Yeah,
I'd
let me
appreciate
know.
it.
Yeah.
Great.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
those meetings for the task force, are they going to be just like what we had
Yeah,
before?
they'll be
Just-
here,
Okay.
and yeah, it'll
We'll
be
do
just,
chapter like,
Yep,
okay, and we'll get that prior? Okay.
yep, we should.
Yep.
Jeff?
I may make some noise about this tomorrow at our meeting, but the annexation the city did of this property where the McGovern School is at certainly got me rubbed wrong because Scott can tell you more, but the city annexed it, making it contiguous with the city by annexing the highway right-of-way going out to that location, and then took that whole thing there, and of course then they got the building permit from the school district, and meanwhile the county is now paving roads out there so people can get there safely. And on the southdakota.com blog, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, South DACOLA, South Dakota. The guy hates Mayor Huther. Anyway, people that are blogging on there talking about this are complaining that the county's not built any sidewalks so people can walk from the trailer park to the new junior high. But they call it flagpole annexation, and it's just what Chicago did with O'Hare Airport. If you've ever seen the map of Chicago, well, and if you look at the map of Sioux Falls, it goes like that, right? And so then the county is out hundreds of thousands of dollars paving this road, and we're out
The building permit fee.
a building permit of potentially tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's.
I was surprised where that was located, originally. It's worse than, when they first built Memorial Middle School, it was out in the country.
It was, yeah.
And people didn't realize it. I know the people of Sioux Falls had no idea where this new middle school was going to be. And that's why all of a sudden Sioux Falls had to start calling off school in the wintertime because it was in the country. And it blizzard and they couldn't get to the darn thing. And then this one's the same way, but this one's even worse. At least Memorial was within, a quarter mile of where the house is.
The sidewalk issue, didn't we have that same issue with the Assam school?
Yeah, in the Brandon School
So,
District.
I mean, it's not only Sioux Falls School District or Sioux Falls, it can be Brandon School District too.
There are no sidewalks going to Tri-Valley, though.
No.
There are. And that road really needs to be redone. It's way too narrow. The one in front of the school, that's narrow.
No.
And it should have left turn lanes too. Jeez, that's a bad street.
I could give them a tiff, maybe.
No, we're not.
Going that street
I don't have anything else.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.